How much difference are you going to hear between a cheap mic and a more expensive one? Let's have a look. Hi, this isn't going to be a review of two microphones. This is just going to be a head-to-head, how they compare and whether you feel it's worth it for you to spend more money on the Rode or stick with something cheaper. This one has more bells and whistles, and if you look at all the reviews on YouTube, you'll see what it does. This one is just basically a microphone with a bass cut on it and a booster, so you can get a bit more volume from it. So I'm going to compare the two. That's all I'm going to do. So let's see how they go. This is the Rode NTG on top of the camera, so it's about 2.5 feet away from me at the moment. To get the gain right, what I've done is I've set my camera to its lowest setting, which on the Sony's is quite low, and then boosted the gain on the microphone, on the back of the microphone, to get the gain to read nicely on my camera. And the audio is going straight into the camera. No preamps are involved, except the preamp in the camera. So that's the Rode NTG at a distance of about 2.5 feet in a pretty poor room. Actually, it's a pretty poor sounding room, so that'll give you some idea of how it would work indoors. Outdoors, a different story because you haven't got walls giving you lots of reverb. This is the sound of the Takstar at a distance of 2.5 feet away on top of my camera. Again, this is not ideal for any recording, a bit too far away, especially in a room. So this is how the Takstar sounds, and it's contending with, of course, wall and ceiling reflections and all sorts of things going on. Not the best. You can also cut the bass. This is the sound of the Rode again, but this time what I've done is I've put in a 75 dB cut. So there's a little bass cut right down low. Sometimes when you're in a house like this, it can take rumbles of fridges away and also maybe cut into the voice, although that's still a bit low, but that's at 75 Hertz. This is the sound of the Rode with a 150 Hertz bass cut, and that's a bit higher up, so it may well be now cutting into my voice, but it will be taking rumbles away, and that can be very useful in windy conditions. So that's the Rode with a higher bass cut. This is the sound of the Takstar with the bass cut out. So now we've got hopefully less rumble in the bass end, and it might have taken out fridges and whatever, and a bit out of the lower end of my voice. I don't know, but that's with the bass cut switched in. By the way, I have this now switched to 10 dB, plus 10 dB, because I've still got the camera at the exact same setting as I have the Rode. So the settings on my camera remain absolutely the same, and I've found that the 10 dB plus on this one is just about right for my camera when I've got it down to its lower setting. This is with the bass taken away. This is the sound of the Rode with a treble boost put on, and this would be used if you've got a windshield on and you want to get rid of the effects of the windshield, or try and alleviate some of the effects of a windshield when you get the treble being a little bit more muffled. So this might well be a bit more toppy. Now the nice thing about the Rode is you can combine that also with a bass cut, so it can get quite thin. So I'll show you what I mean. This is now the sound of the Rode with a treble boost and a bass cut at 150 Hertz. So the bass has been taken away and the treble has been boosted. So what we've got, I'll do it this way round, is we've got that lowered down in the bass and that raised. So we've got a kind of an upward slope, I suppose. So basically that's flat, then you can cut the bass, then you can cut the bass a bit more, then you can go back to flat, you can take the treble up, you can take the treble up and cut the bass, or you can take the treble up and cut the bass more. You can do all kinds of configurations with the Rode, which makes it really, really configurable for the types of sound that you want wherever you are. This is the sound of the Rode when it's held close up on flat, and this way we can alleviate most effects from the room, hopefully. So this is the sound from the front, this is the sound from the side, this is the sound from the rear, back to the side, and that's the front again, and that's the Rode on flat setting. This is the Takstar being used close quarters with a foamy on now because it's close to me, and I've got it on flat response. So this is the sound from the front, this is the sound from the side, this is the sound from the rear, back to the side, and this is the front again. This is the sound of the Rode with a 150 Hertz bass cut. I won't bother with the 75 because it doesn't cut into my voice, and you can't normally hear it very much. So this is the 150, the highest. And at this sort of level, what you get is less of the room, and it cuts just slightly into the voice. So that gives you an idea of how the Rode sounds close up. This is the sound of the Takstar, but this time I've put a bass cut in so the voice will sound a little bit thinner. By the way, the gains are quite interesting on this because I have the gain on this set at plus 10 dB and I've got my camera, as I said, at its lowest setting. Now when I check the Rode, I've been using it, what have I done with it? Here it is. When I check the Rode, I've been using the Rode on a setting of 9 out of 15. Yeah, so it does seem to correspond. So about 9 dB, 9 on or 10 on the Rode seems to match the plus 10 dB on the Takstar. So maybe that's a dB readout on the Rode. I'm not quite sure whether it's a boost of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. But when I put a plus 10 dB on the Takstar and I've got the Rode set to 9 or 10, the volumes are looking pretty similar on my camera with the camera set to its minimum setting. So basically what I've done with both mics is I've matched them to the camera at its lowest setting in order to alleviate most of the camera hiss. Actually, you don't get a lot of camera hiss from my camera at that level. So this is the Takstar, probably at its thinnest. This is the sound of the Rode NTG with the treble boosted on a flat frequency response. So we've got the top end raised. So that gives you some idea of how much effect this might have. By the way, with these tests, when it's closed up, I'm putting the foamy on because both of these microphones are quite susceptible to plosives and things. So that's the Rode with a treble boost. This is the sound of the Rode NTG with a treble boost and a bass cut at 150. This is about as thin as it gets, and I'll be very cautious with this. In the examples that I did, I made sure that the microphones were in the same position and the gain on the camera wasn't changed at all, so you could hear exactly any differences between the two mics, and it's actually quite surprising, isn't it? So I'm going to leave it up to you. Would you rather spend a ninth of the price on the Takstar or 9 times the price for the Rode? Of course, with the Rode you get other features. You can go direct into a computer, you've got the boosting of the treble, which is handy when you're using a dead cat, and you've got the bass cuts as well going on. But if you want just basic sound, perhaps something like a Takstar would actually suit you quite well. Hope this was useful to you. It was an eye-opener to me, I know that for sure, and I hope to see you next time, and I hope also you've had a good Christmas. Cheers for now.